Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is now in session. The court is in session and calls number 23 CCCR 2522. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Alton Thomas Guidry Jr. Let the record reflect that Mr. Guidry is present in court with his attorney, Attorney Todd LeBlanc. Let the record also reflect that the state is present with Assistant District Attorneys, Attorney Andrew Hubel, City Clerk, Attorney Shane Wilkins, City Secretary. We also have Attorney Haley Simmons. State, are you ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Okay. And the court is going to have a bench trial, and on Monday of this week, Mr. Guidry and his attorney filed a motion for a bench trial. Is that correct?
That is, Your Honor.
And that was also signed by the state. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. At this time, State, would you like to present the information? And Mr. Guidry, would you please stand? You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. In the name by the authority of the state of Texas, comes now the undersigned Assistant Criminal District Attorney of Jefferson County, Texas. On behalf of the state of Texas, it presents in and to the County Court at Law of Jefferson County, Texas, that in Jefferson County, Texas, Alton Thomas Guidry Jr., hereafter styled the defendant, heretofore on or about November 9th of 2023, did then and there intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause bodily injury to Dean Guidry by striking her to the face with his hands. It is further presented that at the time of the offense alleged above, Dean Guidry was a member of the defendant's family against the peace and dignity of the state.
Okay. And Mr. Guidry, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Okay, Mr. Guidry, you may be seated. State, would you like to have an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
We believe that the evidence will show in this case that on the morning of November 9th, Dean Guidry, as well as her husband Alton Guidry Jr., and her sister Deborah Robertson lived at 1530 East Beaumont, Texas, which is in Jefferson County. And that on that morning, they were having an issue with the sink. So the landlord sent over a plumber. Now, we also believe that the evidence will show that Alton Guidry Jr. was upset by the fact that there was a man in the home, and that he went to confront Dean about it, as well as the fact that she was wearing clothing that he did not feel was appropriate. This escalated into a verbal argument. We believe the evidence will show that this argument was loud enough to where it roused the interest of Dean's sister, Deborah Robertson, who was watching TV and got up and crossed through the house to get to where where Alton and Dean were arguing. The state believes that the evidence will further show that this verbal argument escalated into a physical altercation, in which the defendant Alton Guidry struck the victim Dean Guidry in the face with enough force with his hand to knock her glasses off, and scratching her in the process and causing her pain. And at this point, we believe the evidence will show that Deborah walked in on the assault as it was ending. Miss Deborah sees the victim's glasses on the ground and sees the defendant's arm coming back from when he struck her. At this point, we believe the evidence will show that Miss Deborah escorted the defendant Alton Guidry outside of the home, and Dean Guidry called the Beaumont Police Department. The responding officer, Felipe Garcia, spoke to the defendant. At this point, he was not in custody, and when asked if the argument was purely verbal, the defendant says no. He makes a pushing motion and then points to his temple where one's glasses are, like an indication that where one's glasses would rest. So, to prove this and to prove the state's case beyond reasonable doubt, the state is calling the victim, Dean Guidry, her sister, Deborah Robertson, and BBD officer Felipe Garcia.
Okay. Mr. LeBlanc, would you like to have an open statement?
We'll waive opening statement at this time, Judge.
Okay. At this time, state, you can call your first witness,
State calls Dean Guidry.
Okay.
She's in witness.
Dean Guidry. Ms. Guidry, would you come forward? Ms. Guidry, you can, please raise your right hand. Ms. Guidry, do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Ms. Guidry, you may put your hand down. Ms. Guidry, you can take a seat in the witness stand. You can adjust the mic in this chair. Mr. Hubel, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Guidry.
Hello.
Can you please introduce yourself for the court?
Yes, my name is Dean Robertson Guidry.
All right. And are you familiar with Mr. Alton Guidry Jr.?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with him?
That's my husband.
And is Mr. Guidry in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is.
Can you please identify him by pointing at him and stating an article of clothing he's wearing?
Yes, he's wearing a red and black shirt.
Will the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
The record will slow reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Okay, so you had said that you were married to Mr. Guidry,
Yeah,
and still married to Mr. Guidry.
yes.
And how long had you been married to Mr. Guidry in November of 2023?
About 7 years.
Okay. And did y'all live together at that time?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And where was that?
1530 Euclid Street, Beaumont, Texas.
Okay. And is that in Jefferson County?
Yes, it is.
So, y'all both lived there on the morning of November 9th of 2023?
That's correct.
Okay. And was there anyone else living there with you at the time?
Yes, my sister, 2 of my nephews, my niece, and my sister's husband.
Okay. And for the record, what is your sister's name?
Deborah Denise Robertson.
So can you tell me how your morning started on November 9th of 2023?
My morning starts always with my grandson. I was watching him. I had been watching him since he was born.
Okay.
When my daughter or her husband drops him off, I would get his breakfast and feed him, and we would be in my bedroom area.
Okay. And do you recall who was in the home with you that morning?
Yes, my sister, the kids were off at school. My sister's husband was was asleep, and Alton was outside.
Okay. And did you have your grandchild with you at the time?
Yes, I did. I had my grandson.
Okay. And was there anything out of the ordinary happening with the house that day?
Yes, we had problems with the kitchen sink. And so we called the landlord, and the landlord had a plumber come out that morning to repair the kitchen sink. And I was in the kitchen and heating up something for my grandson, my breakfast, and Alton came in.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
So when Alton comes in, does he notice that the plumber's in the home?
Yes, he's laying on the floor up under the sink.
And how did Alton react to that?
He wasn't pleased.
Okay. And do you have any idea why he wasn't pleased?
Alton is very insecure. He don't like men being around.
And how did he express that on that morning, November?
Well, when he came, he wanted to know who was that, and I told him that was the plumber that the landlord sent over to fix the sink.
Did he have any other issues with the situation in the house that morning?
Yes, I had on my pajamas, and he told me, you're walking around here, he called them underwears.
No, when you say pajamas, can you describe for the court what you were wearing that day?
Yes, I had on the two-piece, it was a top, with the thin strap, and the bottoms were capris that go down below the knees.
So it was not just underwear.
No, no,
So you were saying that you were taking care of your grandson that morning and that you made breakfast for him. Was he with you at that time?
yes, I was holding my grandson in my arms, feeding him.
And this was when you and Alton were in a verbal argument?
Yes,
Okay. And at some point during the verbal argument, did that escalate?
yes, it did, yes, it did. Alton got upset because the landlord had sent the plumber over. And when I told him, I don't have no control over who the landlord sends over to fix the sink, it needs to be fixed. So he's like, I don't like these different men hanging around here. And I told him, like I said, I don't have no control over that. But somebody gonna get hurt around here if I find out you messed around, and I don't have no control over that. So he it was a water bottle sitting on the nightstand. He picked up the water bottle and gestured to throw it at me, but he changed his mind and he set it down. He stood up and got ready to leave out the room. And that's when he leaned over to me. You walking around here in your underwear and stuff. It's not my underwear, these are my pajamas. And he balled his fist up. Where I'm sitting there in the chair, this is the door that comes into our room. I'm holding my grandson. He balled his fist up. By this time, my sister's yelling, coming down the hallway because I'm yelling and telling him to leave me alone. And I was loud. I was loud. Telling him, just leave me alone. And he balled his fist up. And when my sister came down the hall, he unballed his fist and he took his finger and poked me in the corner of my eye and knocked my glasses off.
So whenever he did that, he struck you with enough force that knocked your glasses off?
Yes.
Okay. And then he struck you in the face?
Yes, he did.
And was it a quick motion or a slow motion?
It was a quick motion.
And the record won't be able to capture this, but can you sort of replicate what he did for the
Yeah,
court?
he took his finger and pushed me in the corner of my eye, over just my left eye.
And did that cause you pain?
Yes, it did. I had a scratch in the corner of my eye.
Okay. And that's my next question. Did it cause you an injury?
Yes, I had to put antibiotic drops in my eyes.
Okay. And may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's marked as State's Exhibit 1A through 1C. Do you recognize them?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me what they are?
Okay, this is the picture, and it can show you what my top looks like. This is the picture here of my eye. You can see in the corner here with discoloration and also a missile.
Okay. And so these are all pictures of you,
Yes, it is.
and you recognize them?
Yes, I do.
You've had the ability to review these pictures,
Yes.
and they're very accurate depictions of yourself on that day?
Yes, it is.
November 9th of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And you, when talking about the state, I would tender, at this point, I would tender to defense.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted.
So talking specifically about State's Exhibit 1A, so what is this picture of?
This is a picture of me wearing my glasses.
Okay, and it also depicts your clothing?
Yes, it depicts what I had on. This is the top that goes to my pajamas.
Now, State's Exhibit 1B and 1C, do they depict a close-up of your eye area?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And looking at these images, can you see the injury that you received that day?
Yes, right here in the top right of my eye, you can see there's a scratch there and there's a scratch there.
Okay, and is there also some redness in that area?
Yes, it is.
Um, at this point, state would publish states 1A through 1C to the court.
All right. You may proceed.
Thank you. Now, at this point, you said your sister was coming into the room?
Yes, my sister was coming down the hallway when she heard my voice.
Okay. And what did your sister do in response to what was happening?
Alton was reaching to his side, which is where he always packed his pistol. And she told him he better not. And she pushed him in his chest and told him to go outside.
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
Mm.
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
What's hearsay?
She's stating what someone else said.
No, she
Oh.
didn't know, so.
Hold on. What was the question? In a response.
What did your sister do in response to this happening?
And what was the response?
Alton was reaching to his side which is where he always packs his pistol. She said he better not, and she pushing him in his chest, told him to go outside.
Okay, so
The
that's,
sister's statement.
yeah, that's, objection sustained.
I asked the court to disregard I'd ask the court to disregard any of those statements.
It's not any, only statement she made was what her sister said to tell him to go outside.
And
That's all, so I'll disregard that.
so, without stating anything that your sister said during the situation,
Mhm.
did she escort Alton outside?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And during this assault, where was your grandchild?
In my arms.
Okay. And how did he react to it?
He started crying.
And was your grandchild injured as a result of this?
No, he wasn't injured.
So after Alton was escorted outside, what did you do?
I called the police.
Right. And you spoke to officers on arrival?
Yes, I did.
You made a report?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And can you tell me what the current status of your relationship with Alton is?
I haven't seen Alton since he left the house until the 23rd of last month. Me and my mom was coming out of a store parking lot, and we happened to be in the same parking lot at the same time. But that's the first time I've seen him in a year and a half.
But you haven't talked to him?
No, I have not one word.
Okay. State passes the bill.
Okay. Mr. LeBlanc, you may proceed.
Ma'am, did you say that you were referring to, I think, State's Exhibit 2? I believe it's,
Columns 1A.
or A,
B,
B,
and C.
State's Exhibit B, I believe is what it is,
1B.
1B. I believe that was it. Did you say there were 2 scratches on you?
No, I didn't say to.
I heard you said, it sounded like you said they, one scratch here and one scratch there.
No,
Is that-
sir.
Okay. Maybe I'm mistaken then. And you said your sister was coming down the hallway when this started,
She was coming down the hallway when she heard my voice.
and you had the child in your hands?
Yes, I did.
And how old was that child?
My grandson was just less than a year old at that time.
And how long had you had him?
I've been watching him since he was born.
At that time, when did you go get him?
I went and got it, well, they picked him up after I heated up his breakfast and I was getting ready to feed him. So about 15 minutes.
So you were holding the child, he comes inside, my client comes inside. The plumber is there, he sees the plumber, this is the first time he sees the plumber, knows plumber's there.
Yes,
And the issue that he was upset with was not so much the plumber was there, but that he didn't care for what you were wearing, isn't that correct?
not really, no, he was upset that the plumber was there, a man in the house, period, that he did not know.
And in the report, it seems like that the issue was you wear pajamas in front of it. Is that what you told the officer? That was what started it?
That's what it ended up with.
And he used his finger to knock your glasses off?
Yes, he did,
Where exactly did he make contact with your glasses?
right here,
And he knocked them off and they hit the ground?
yes, they did,
And who picked them up?
I did,
So you're holding 1-year-old and you pick up the glasses, and then that's when the sister says to him, your sister started talking to him about he was reaching for his hip.
yes,
Okay. And what would he been, you saying he was reaching for his gun
he always had his gun on his side.
in his house? Is that what you said inside?
Yes, sir.
And so that's your testimony that you saw him reaching for his,
I saw him reach for his right hip where he always packed his gun.
and you saw this after he had knocked your glasses off?
Yes,
And what do you wear glasses for? Mine's for reading, if yours for reading.
mine's for every day, 24 hours a
So
day.
you wear them all the time.
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't be able to see without them very well.
No, sir.
And who all did you say lived there in the house?
My sister, her husband, I have 2 nephews and a niece.
2 nephews and a niece. Those are all your family.
Family members, my sister's grandkids, which one of her sons that died on the job site, and so she has custody of his kids.
And she lived with you at the time.
Yes.
And you also live there?
Excuse me?
Y'all still live there, or y'all,
No, she still lives there.
you don't live there anymore?
No, I do not.
Are y'all going through a divorce, or is it a divorce?
I filed, he won't sign the papers.
But you filed for divorce?
Yes, I did.
You said you put antibiotics on the scratch.
Yes, I have antibiotic drops.
Topical, is it a topical or is it a?
They go in the eye.
And who prescribed that?
I got some for my sister. All my nieces and nephews have allergies.
So you didn't see.
No, I didn't go to a doctor.
You didn't have to go to a doctor. Did the officer tell you that somebody was gonna go to jail since y'all both lived there? You recall that when you talked to him?
Well, yeah, he told him he had to leave.
He told Alvin he had to leave,
Mhm.
but he didn't leave.
Well, he left in the police car.
But when he told him he had to, he didn't leave. Do you recall if you ever put, at that time, you ever put your hands on him during that argument?
No, sir.
Okay, and you said it got loud because your sister heard you in the next room.
Yes.
Where was the plumber in all this? Was he,
In the kitchen, laying on his back under the sink.
and this wasn't in the kitchen
No, this was in our bedroom.
bedroom? Okay. And originally it was just you and him, and then we're holding the child. The sister wasn't in there.
No, she wasn't in there. She was in the living room. It's the living room, the kitchen, and then down the hall, and then out.
Say that again, the book.
It's the living room, the kitchen, a hallway, and our bed.
And you called the police.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you stay in the same outfit the whole time?
Yes, I did.
That's further on.
Okay, Mr. Hill,
Briefly, Your Honor. Okay. One thing that, I previously asked you if you spoke to officers and made a report on the case, but what I didn't ask you was you made the decision to file charges, correct?
Yes, I did.
No further questions.
Mr. LeBlanc,
So how long did you have to treat this?
I put drops in my eyes for a couple of days.
So it was in your eye,
Yes,
so it wasn't on a scratch, it was.
it was a scratch on my eye, but the impression of against my eyeball was red. And so, yeah, I put some antibiotic drops in there.
Okay. In States Exhibits 1C,
Mhm.
where's the injury that you're talking about in that one?
Right here.
So it would be same place on that.
Exactly.
That's pretty on.
okay. Mr. Hill,
No further questions, Your Honor.
okay. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Guidry, you're excused. You can step down and follow the bailiff outside of the courtroom, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Huber, you can call your next witness,
Take those, Deborah Robinson.
Deborah Robinson. Okay. Yeah. Ms. Robinson, you can come forward. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Do.
Okay, you may put your hand out. You can take the witness stand, or you can adjust the microphone and the chair. Mr. Hubel, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Robinson. Can you please introduce yourself for the record?
My name is Deborah Robinson.
Okay. And are you familiar with Dean Guidry?
Yes, it's my sister.
Okay. And are you familiar with Alton Guidry?
Yes, sir.
And what relation to you is Alton?
My brother-in-law.
Okay, so he is married to Dean Guidry,
Yes,
and is Alton in the court today?
yes, sir.
Can you please identify him by pointing to him and saying an article of clothing that he's wearing?
Great piece of God over the red and blue shirt.
Will the record reflect that the witness identified the defendant?
Record will so reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
And go back to November of 2023. Do you recall where you were living at that time?
Yes, sir. 1570.
And is that in Beaumont, Texas?
Yes, sir.
In Jefferson County, Texas?
Yes, sir.
And who else did you live with at that time, at that address?
At the time, with myself, Deborah Robinson, and my 3 grandkids. Also Mr. Alton Guidry and my sister. Yeah, Guidry.
Okay. And that was the case on the morning of November 9th, 2023 as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on that morning, do you recall what you were doing?
Sitting down, living on watching television.
Okay. And do you recall who all was in the home at that time?
Alton Guidry, myself, Deborah Robinson, Dean Guidry, and my little, nephew, Cross Seltzer.
And Cross, is that Dean's grandchild?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there anyone else in the home that wasn't family?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and who was that?
My landlord had just sent the plumber over to work on the, pipe for the kitchen sink.
Okay. And was it you who called the landlord?
I called the landlord and told him something.
Okay. But the landlord was the one who sent the plumber over. Y'all didn't make that decision.
No, no.
And to be clear, the landlord was the one who sent the plumber?
He wants the plumber over. Yes, sir.
Okay. And how did Alton react to the fact that there was a plumber in the house?
Well, I didn't at the time tell him that the plumber was over, but at the time when he came in, he seen the plumber was up under the sink. And
Did he become upset?
Sir,
Did he become upset?
I believe he was upset because of the fact that he walked over the plumber, then after that I began to hear the arguing.
Okay.
I believe
So-
that was it.
So you heard arguing,
Yes, sir.
and could you tell whose voices you were hearing?
Mr. Guidry and Ms. Guidry.
Okay. And to be clear, that's Mr. Alton Guidry and
Mr.
this
Guidry.
Dean Guidry.
And Dean Guidry.
So, so at some point you get up from your seat, in front of the television and go to see what's going on.
Yes, sir.
What caused you to do
It was extremely loud as far as the voices and the tone was just unusual.
that? Okay. And so tell me how you went from the living room to the bedroom.
Chair. We were going to the kitchen. From the living room, I proceeded to Mrs. Guidry, Mr. Guidry's bedroom.
Okay. And as you were getting there, what did you see?
I seen Mr. Alton, hand in a bent position coming back from what I perceived was like he had done something,
Okay.
like something had happened.
Okay, so his hand and his arm were coming down.
That
Okay. And did you see anything else?
I seen Mrs. Guidry was reaching down to get her glasses.
Okay. And by Miss Guidry, you mean your sister Dean?
Yes,
Okay. And so her glasses were on the floor at this time?
yes.
And did you ever go into the room?
You know, I was in the threshold of the door, and I asked him basically, like, what's going on, what happened? He said nothing happened. I said, well, apparently something happened. And so after that point, we kind of stared at one another for a moment. And then after that, he proceeded out the room.
Okay.
And I walked
And-
behind.
So so that's when you escorted Alton out of the house?
Yes, sir. I walked right behind him. He went over the plumber's leg out the front door. I went over the plumber out the front door. And we would continue, going all the way out till he got out the police truck.
Okay. And where did he go when he was outside?
Pardon me?
I was asking where he went when he was outside.
To his vehicle, in the
Okay.
driveway.
Okay. So. So during this time, could you hear what your sister was doing?
When that time, I could hear her calling the police.
Okay. And police did respond?
Yes,
So did you at any point observe Dean Guidry's injuries?
After I came back into the house, after I talked to Mr. Gidry, I came back in the house to check on her. And that's when I seen the injury.
All right. May I approach your honor?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing you state's exhibit number 1A. Do you recognize, who's depicted in this image?
Miss Dean Gidry.
Okay. And does this accurately reflect what she was wearing that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In state's exhibit 1B and 1C, do you recognize what this is?
That's the injury.
Okay, and then, and by the injury, you mean the injury to your sister Dean
Sister
Guidry?
Dean Gidry.
Okay. And can you tell me what you see specifically?
Like a cut,
Okay.
close to her eye.
And is there any redness in the area?
Yes, sir.
State passes the witness.
Mr. LeBlanc, you may question the witness.
You said you were watching TV at the time,
Yes, sir.
and the plumber was under the sink, working on the sink,
Yes, sir.
and prior to that, Mr. Guidry didn't know that the man was in the house, is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay, and when he came in, he wasn't. That's what your understanding of what the argument was over, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you said they were getting loud, and I think you said there was a tone, you could tell by the tone, which was unusual, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
So this wasn't a normal type of occurrence. You said that was an unusual
Yes, sir.
incident. Okay. And when you went into the bedroom, you saw her reaching down to pick up her glasses and him retracting his hand, his arm, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then I guess afterwards, when you learned that he knocked her, that she said he knocked her glasses off, is that?
Yes, sir.
And you walked outside with him,
Yes, sir.
and he went to his vehicle.
Yes,
What
sir.
was he doing in his vehicle, do you know?
Just sitting there, we was talking.
Okay, was it your vehicle behind him? You would have had to move,
Yes, sir.
okay? So he wasn't trying to go anywhere, was he?
No, sir.
Did you suggest he leave because you called the police?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you told him what?
I said, you need to leave out because Dean is calling the police. And I said it about several times.
And his response was,
I'm not going anywhere to do anything.
okay. Did you, afterwards, did you see him reach for his hip or a pistol or anything? Was that an issue?
No, so well, no, so it wasn't. You talking about, read that again?
Right after this happened, and you see him retracting his hand and then he leaves the room, did he ever reach for his pistol, or did he have a pistol to reach for? Did you see a gun?
No, sir.
So was Miss Guidry crying after this, or was she, when she said, I'm calling the police?
I didn't see her crying, and she's really upset.
Was she upset because this escalated regarding the plumber and what she was wearing, or what do you think she was upset about?
Because that she was misunderstood by Mr. Gidry of what she had on.
That was upsetting for her.
Yes, sir,
A
because,
difference of opinion as to,
yeah,
she put her glasses back on.
yes, sir.
Is it the same one she's wearing today, or do you know, or she continued to wear the same glasses, correct?
Well, you know, sir.
Okay. Mr. Hill,
Later on. Okay. So. In the hallway, you didn't see Mr. Gidry reaching for anything?
When
You
we
don't
said-
recall?
when he and I was talking,
Well, was this in the hallway or was this?
just in the hallway, when I'm facing him at the door, as he began to look at me, looking at him, he began to do his arms upward like that. And so in the past, and I know for certain that he's always, I was kind of worried because we stared at each other for a moment. I was worried briefly that he was really upset to where I felt like I didn't know if he was going to reach for anything because I know in the past that he always get protection.
And by protection, you mean,
Gun.
okay. And you were worried about the hiding situation because the argument was an unusual volume?
It was an unusual volume, and I know he was very upset, and she was very upset. So I didn't know what to expect walking into that room.
Okay. And you said that, and you testified, when speaking with Mr. LeBlanc, the defense attorney, you had said that your sister was upset, right?
Yes,
But she was mad,
he was very upset.
because this had happened to her.
They've gotten an argument before, but I've never seen it like her like this.
Um, and the difference in this situation was that he became physical with her.
I believe that she was upset because he went too far with the whatever I didn't, like I said, I seen it going out, but I didn't see it going in. So whatever happened, it made her very upset.
So you had walked in on the end. State Constable.
Mr. LeBron. Okay, may this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Robinson, you're excused. You can please follow the bailiff and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm gonna ask for just a couple minutes recess to make sure that my officer witnesses.
Oh, that's fine. At this time, the court will be in recess. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number 23 CCCR 2522, case of style, State of Texas versus Alton Thomas Guidry Jr. Let the record reflect that Mr. Guidry is present in court with his attorney, Attorney Todd LeBlanc. Let this record reflect that the state is present with Assistant Criminal District Attorneys, Attorney Andrew Hubel and Attorney Shane Hilton. State, are you ready?
State's ready.
Defense, are you ready?
We are.
Mr. Hubel, you can call your next witness.
State calls Officer Felipe Garcia.
Officer Garcia, would you please raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
Officer Garcia, do you swear, affirm, and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Officer Garcia, you may put your hand down. You can take the witness stand.
Thank you.
Is that a,
No, she's not, Your Honor, or at least for the state.
okay. Mr. Hubel, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Officer Garcia.
Good afternoon.
Can you please introduce yourself to the court?
Yes, my name is Felipe Garcia with the Beaumont Police Department.
And how long have you been with the
About 16 and a half years.
Okay. And during that time, have you always been a certified peace officer?
Yes, sir, I have.
And meaning that you were certified in November of 2023?
Correct, I was.
Okay. And what were your duties with BPD at that time?
At the time, as well as currently, I'm a patrol officer, so I answer 911 calls and other calls for service.
Okay. And do you respond, and do you recall responding to such a call on the morning of November 9th, 2023?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, and what was the nature of that call?
It was called in as a disturbance between two parties.
Okay. And where did you respond to?
I can't remember the numbers on the house, but I believe it was on Euclid Street.
And is that in Beaumont, Texas?
Yes, sir. It's in the south end.
All right. And where you responded to was in Jefferson County, Texas?
Correct, it was.
And when you were responding, did you have your body camera active?
Yes, sir, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what is marked as State's Exhibit number 2. Do you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell me what it is?
It's a copy of my body cam footage from that day.
And have you had the chance to review your entire body cam prior to the testifying today?
Yes, sir, I have.
Did
I
it,
have reviewed.
yeah, did it fairly and accurately depict the events as they occurred that day?
Yes, sir, they did.
Okay. And other
They
than
do.
those, other than those made for the purposes of court, are there any alterations?
No, sir, none whatsoever.
State Lieutenant or State Student?
No objection.
No objections? State's exhibit number 2 will be admitted.
So upon arrival, did you make contact with the residents of the house on Euclid?
Yes, sir, I believe I made contact with a total of 3 people.
Okay. And do you recall who you spoke to first?
The first person I spoke to, I believe it was the sister. Can't remember her name, but it was the sister of the person we were there for.
Okay.
So the victim's name, I believe, is Dean Guidry. So it was Miss Dean's sister that I spoke to first.
Okay. And whenever you say the person you were there for, do you mean the person who committed the offense in this case?
Yes, him as well as the victim.
Okay. Now, did she make any indication as to where the person was?
Yes, sir. She told me that he was in the backyard.
Okay. And did you go back there?
Yes, sir.
And there was someone in the backyard?
Yes, only one person.
Okay, and who was that person?
Mr. Alton, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Alton Guidry, I believe his name is.
And is Mr. Guidry in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir, he is.
Can you please identify him by pointing to him and stating an article of clothing that he's wearing?
It looks like a black and red t-shirt.
Okay. Will the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
The record will so reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Okay. And while in the backyard, did you, speak to Mr. Guidry?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And and during this time, he was not in, that you were speaking to him in the backyard, he was not under arrest?
No, sir. At the time, he was, I was simply going to detain him, because, he was one of the parties involved,
So he
in
was
the
not,
disturbance.
yeah, so he was not in custody at that point?
No, sir, he was not.
Okay. And during that conversation, did he make any admissions to you?
So when I spoke to him, I asked, what had occurred and if it was just a verbal argument, the disturbance, and he said, after reviewing my body cam, it cleared up my memory where he motioned with his hands, like this.
Okay,
So I took that as, he pushed somebody, and also he motioned with, one of his hands towards one of his eyes. I believe he motioned towards his right eye with his right hand.
all right. At this point, state with published states too.
Okay.
That one was on the right side.
Hello. You okay?
Yeah.
Is it- Hello? You said your sister called? What's her name? What's her name?
Deborah, she thinks.
Okay, Dean. Miss Dean? You Dean? You Dean? What's your name? Y'all got into it? You ain't got no gun on you, huh? Let me leave that serving. Alright, you cool. Alright, so this was, according to you, it's just a verbal argument?
Oh,
Y'all both live here?
yes.
Okay. Come up here, let's talk.
So in, it was marked in it as states exhibit number 2. We just watched the admission that you spoke about.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in response to your question as to whether it was simply a verbal argument in this case, what was the defendant's statement?
Again, the way he motioned with his two hands, as in, like pushing him away from his body, I took that as he, either pushed somebody or shoved somebody. And then he motioned with one of his hands, towards his eye. And again, I took that as, that person might have, sustained an injury of some sort.
Yeah, and did he make a verbal response to that question?
Oh, so initially he said it was just in his words, I believe he said, they had words.
But then when you later asked the question whether or not it was simply a verbal argument, his answer was no. Is that correct?
Yes,
And at this point during your investigation, another officer arrived?
yes, Officer McBride, Mike McBride.
Okay. And he spoke to he stayed and spoke to the defendant in this case, is that correct?
Correct. I spoke to the Ms. Dean Guidry, and he spoke with Mr. Alton Guidry.
Okay. And is Ms. Dean Guidry the victim in this case?
Yes,
And was her sister also present?
yes. That was the first person I made contact on the court.
Okay. So did Ms. Dean Guidry complete a report for you?
Yes, she filled out a witness statement for us on the scene.
Okay. And did she indeed press charges in this case?
Yes, she indicated she wanted to file charges, and she filled out a non-consent form, which is a form that we use at Beaumont PD to say, yes, I want to pursue charges.
Okay. And at the point when she stated, when she expressed that she wanted to file charges, was that when Mr. Guidry was placed under arrest?
Yes, he was.
And that was by Officer McBride?
Correct.
And Officer McBride transported the defendant in this case to Jefferson County Jail?
Yes, that particular day, so that area, Officer McBride works it. So he was the primary officer on the call, which is why he made the arrest.
Okay. And while you were collecting witness statements, did you also take pictures of the victim's injuries?
Yes, sir. I used my city issued cell phone to take, I believe, 3 pictures of Miss Dean.
Okay.
All on the scene.
And can you describe to me the injury that Ms. Dean Guidry received?
It looked like a small laceration. I believe it was under her left eye.
Okay. And was there any other was the injury visible in any other way? Like,
Yes, sir. Redness, coloration.
may I approach your arm?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's been marked in the minutes as states exhibits 1A through 1C. Do you recognize these images?
Yes, sir. Those are the ones I took, again, using my city issued cell phone.
Okay, speaking specifically about state 1A, can you tell me what it depicts?
Miss Dean, with her prescription glasses on, she told me she was wearing those at the time, Mr. Alton, allegedly,
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive. He's not answering the question if that's.
Can you answer the question?
Question back. Hold on a minute. And the response.
Miss Dean with her prescription glasses on, which is, she told me that she was wearing those at the time Mr. Alton allegedly,
What was the question?
specifically about state 1. Can you tell me what it depicts?
Oh, what it depicts? Okay. She's wearing her glasses. And read the response again. What it depicts.
Miss Dean with her prescription glasses on, which she told me that she was wearing those at the time Mr. Alton.
Okay. I'll overrule. The objection is overruled.
All right. And does it also depict the clothing that Ms. Dean Guidry was wearing that day?
yes, I believe I described it in my report as a tube top,
Okay.
shirt.
And was she also wearing pajama pants that day?
I don't remember what she was wearing on her bottoms.
Okay.
I don't want to give a wrong answer if I.
Right. No, that's fine. It's been a couple of years. It's okay. Now moving on to states 1B and 1C. Can you tell me what these are?
Yes, it's the left side of Miss Dean's face.
Okay. And do these images contain the injury that occurred in this case?
Yes,
And can you show Can you show me where specifically those are in State's Exhibit 1B and 1C and describe them?
So this one right here is the small laceration I was talking about. I believe it's this one right here.
Okay.
On her upper cheek area, on the left side of her face.
All right.
And this is the redness, right here, this little area right here. Also on the, left side of her face.
Thank So following the collection of the witness statements in this case and you taking the pictures of the victim's injuries, did that complete your investigation in this case?
Yes, sir, my portion of it,
Alright.
assisting Officer McBride.
State passes the witness.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Sir, did you prepare a report, you said?
I'm sorry?
Did you prepare a report?
Yes, sir, I did. Well, not a formal report. Officer McBride did the report. If there are assisting officers, in this case, me, we do what's called a supplement. So like a paragraph or two to the initial, offense report.
Did you prepare something?
Yes, sir, a supplement.
I haven't seen anything with your name on it. And it sounded like you were the first officer there, right?
Yes, sir, I arrived, I don't know how long, maybe a minute or two, before Officer McBride got there.
Where did she say about, you never spoke to her?
Ms. Dean?
Yeah, or did you say you spoke to her after? Did you, you said you spoke to the sister first and then him. Did you speak to her afterwards?
Yes, sir. Once Officer McBride got there, he became primary on speaking with Mr. Alton.
Okay.
And then I went inside the house and became primary, in talking with Miss Dean.
And where did she indicate to you that he pushed her? How he pushed her? Did she reenact that or?
She went like this. I don't know if she went like this. So she told me she got pushed in the eye, while wearing, the prescription glasses.
Okay. So she never told you he put his hands on her and pushed her like that?
Not that I recall, no. Just the, pushing in the face with
Okay.
his finger.
So when on the video, and Judge, if I may, I'm gonna watch that last part again.
You go, all right, so this was, according to you, it's just an over argument? No, I really won't say that. Y'all got into it? You ain't got no gun on you, huh? Really won't say that. All right, you go. All right, so this was, according to you, it's just an over argument? No, y'all both live here? Yes. Okay. Come up here, let's stop.
Right there, when he did that.
Yes, sir.
That's what you're referring to.
Yes, sir, when he.
So he never pushed her when he put his hand forward like that. She never said he pushed her.
No, not that I recall.
And when you were asked about, you took that to mean that there was an altercation, that it got physical.
Yes, some type of physical altercation.
And then when he pointed like this, you took that to mean that,
It was possibly an injury,
Okay.
somewhere around the eyes or forehead area.
so you're saying he's telling you she's possibly injured? Or,
That's how I took it when he pointed like this. Either that or, he did something to her face area. I don't know.
and did y'all have to provide any kind of medical treatment or any kind
As in like call EMS or something?
you didn't have to
We,
administer any medical treatment, like stopping any bleeding?
no, no, sir.
What is that? You said it was a small laceration.
Yes, sir.
What is a laceration?
A cut is what
A
people
small
normally call it.
cut.
I'm sorry?
You said, so it was a small cut then?
A small cut.
And that's reflected in State's Exhibit 1A?
Yes, sir. This one right here,
State's
1B.
1B, but not in 1A and 1C, I guess then.
No. Well, you can kind of see it on 1C as well.
And you said there was redness and discoloration,
Yes, sir.
but no blood,
No,
no. You never saw any bruising, or
just besides the redness,
did you offer her medical treatment? Did you tell her she could go to the
Uh,
hospital if she wanted to?
that I do not recall.
Well, if it would have been an injury that warranted you offering medical treatment or suggesting that she get medical treatment, you would have done so, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was Officer McBride that ultimately arrested him.
Yes, sir. He was the primary, officer.
Did he consult with you before he arrested him?
I ran down, I believe, right before he went to jail, with Mr. Alton. I believe I, gave him a quick rundown of what Miss Dean had told me, of her version of events.
You
Of what
told that
happened.
to who? Mr. Alton or?
No, to Officer McBride, right before he left.
And so then that's when he decided to arrest him, or that was,
No, that was after.
did, McBride tell you that he decided to arrest him because he lived there and he works there? And it was necessary to put him under arrest to prevent any further violence?
I don't want exactly what his reasoning was for placing him under arrest.
And the witness, you said while you were gathering witness statements, there's only one, right, that you got? Nobody else signed a statement, right?
No, okay, so at the scene, Ms. Dean filled out one, and then, I believe I left a witness statement for her sister, to complete.
And did you see where this happened? Did she take you to where it happened?
I think she walked me to her, their bedroom, is where I believe she said it occurred.
Did you ask her if her child was okay, if the grandchild was okay, the 1-year-old?
I did not. I remember seeing a small child there. I can't recall if I had.
Do you remember do you remember finding out where the child was when this happened?
I did not.
Nobody told you if anybody was holding the child or if anybody else was in the room? Nobody told you that, correct?
That I do not remember.
And if you had been told that, it would have been reflected by any kind of report or any kind of.
Yes, sir.
And the original reason for this argument was, do you know what it was?
According to Ms. Dean, so I remember there was another male subject, at the house. I believe he was doing work, at the house. And according to Ms. Dean, Mr. Alton was upset about what she was wearing while this other man was in the house, who had no relation to any of them. So she said, according to her, Mr. Alton found, what she was wearing to be, provocative.
And did you and any of the other officers or the other officer, discuss what ultimately to do as far as like, did you consider an option of telling him to leave the home? Was that an option?
I can only answer for myself. When it came to me, there was not.
Is that ever an option that you tell that if there's two parties are not getting along, you tell ask them to leave the home?
Yes, sir, sometimes.
That's perfect.
Okay, Mr. Hoover?
Briefing you.
Yes.
So, um, Looking at your earlier testimony, the decision to arrest, Mr. Gidry was made after, Dean expressed she was wanting to file charges.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and once charges are filed in an assault family violence case that you're on, that you're on the premises of, generally, if the subject is still there, you would take them into custody. Is that correct?
Yes.
No further questions.
Mr. LeBlanc, okay. May this witness be excused, stage? Defense? May this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Officer Garcia, you excuse. You can follow the bailiff outside,
Thank you.
and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
State. You can cut state rest. And Mr. LeBlanc?
Your Honor, I call my client.
Okay. Mr. Gidry, you may come forward. Mr. Gidry, would you please raise your right hand? You swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Gidry, you may put your hand, you may take the witness stand, you could adjust the mic and chair. Mr. LeBlanc, you may proceed.
Thank you. Go ahead and state your name for the record.
My name is Alton Thomas Gidget Jr.
Okay, be sure you speak loud enough where everybody can hear.
My name is Alton Thomas Gidget Jr.
And who is in the courtroom here?
My mother,
That's your mother. How old are you, Mr. Gidry? How old are you?
64.
64?
Yes,
And you've heard the testimony today, you know why we're here, something that happened back in November of 2023, November 9th. You recall seeing that, the video.
yes,
What were you doing? Where were you at, in the back of the property?
yes. I have a garden back there.
And at that time, you went back there, I believe that sister, you kept. We're gonna start there, then we'll go back, but when did you know the police were coming?
My sister-in-law told me, she said, brother, she called the police. You want me to move my car so you can leave? And I said, no, cause I ain't did that. That's why I say,
And so that's why you were in the back, back there.
yes,
And you agree that y'all had words, it got a little heated,
yes,
you had an issue with another man being in the house.
on that issue. I asked her to put some clothes on. She had underwear, pajamas, and she jumped up talking about this miles. I do what I want to do, and I said she was sitting down, and I took my hand and pushed her glasses up and called excuses, especially what I'm finna say. I pushed her glasses off her face. I said, "You a self-MF." And I walked out. Deborah came in, saying what's going on. I was in outside. She followed me outside and we was talking.
So the sister never saw this happen? She wasn't in the room when that
No.
happened? She saw you when you were walking out?
Yes,
And where was the child?
was no child. I didn't see, she didn't have no child and none left or anything.
Well, where was it? It's the grandchild. He lives there, right?
I don't think he was there at the time. I don't remember seeing him now.
Were the other nephews there or something that she said there was
No children was there.
no children?
They was in school.
And this plumber, he didn't see any of it, did he?
Excuse me?
The plumber, did he see any of it?
No, he was laying on his back up under the witch call.
So this is what happened. It was short. It wasn't a long drawn out thing. Y'all were arguing. And you knocked her glasses off?
Yes.
Did you assault her? Did you intend to hurt her or
No,
cause any damage?
no, sir.
Um, and you didn't have a weapon on you, did you?
No, sir.
But you do have a weapon that you have at home, you carry around
Yes. Yes, I do.
lawfully, legally.
Yes.
You were gonna say something, did you? Did I miss something?
Excuse me.
You were gonna say something just a second ago.
Not no, I'm just trying to elaborate on what you were saying.
Okay, did you want to elaborate on that then? Did you want to elaborate on it?
About your weapon,
No, but it was before that, anyway.
on this here, what's going on, it wouldn't call for misunderstanding and what happened, by the man being there. Deborah came out and told me, brother, it's my fault. She didn't inform me that the maintenance man was coming. That's all she had said.
Did anybody tell you that you could leave the house? The officers or your sister or anybody other than your sister?
Oh, I could leave the house.
Yeah, that you needed. Did any of the officers
No,
tell you?
no officer didn't tell me anything.
So that wasn't a,
No,
was it kind of shocking that when you got arrested?
yeah, I said, when he told me, the officer right there, he asked me what happened, I explained it to him, he went in the house and come back, explained it to me again. He said, well, she said the same thing you said. And he said, I gotta take somebody to jail, and he said, I said, yeah, God will take me to jail, because I'm a man. And that's how it went, and I went to jail.
That's brilliant.
Hey, Mr. Hibble?
Good afternoon, Mr. Guidry.
Excuse
Good afternoon, Mr. Guidry.
me.
So on the morning of November 9th, 2023, you lived with your wife, Dean Guidry, at 1530 Euclid in Beaumont, Texas,
Yes,
and that's in Jefferson County? And that's in Jefferson County, sir?
yes,
All right. So you admitted during your questioning with Mr. LeBlanc that you pushed Miss Guidry's glasses off her face.
excuse me, I didn't hear you.
I said that during Mr. LeBlanc's questioning, you admitted that you pushed Miss Guidry's glasses off her face. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
With my finger, just kicked it up,
Okay.
and called it,
And-
and called it, and that was it.
And do you know that if you push or strike someone in the face, that it could cause them pain or injury?
The way I did it, I didn't do it hard, I just banned
But-
this, what's called, I didn't. do
Okay, I
that.
understand that that's your testimony, but if one strikes someone in the face, do you know that could cause them harm? That could cause them pain or injury?
No,
So you also said that there were no children in the house. Despite the fact that, is that the case despite the fact that Dean and Deborah both testified that Cross was in the house at the time?
no,
Okay, so you're still saying that there were no children in the home?
no.
And even after Officer Garcia, who's unrelated to the family, also remembers a child being present?
He didn't say anything about the child was present, when he was up there, I didn't even say that.
And that was his testimony, that he did remember a child being present at
I
the.
didn't say it now. It's been so long. I don't remember that, but I remember what I.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Did you strike her in the face? Did you strike her in the face? Did you hit her?
No,
Did you see what's been marked as, State's Exhibit A, B, and C? Do you see an injury there on her eye? I mean, do you know what you're alleged to have done?
I just see your red spot right there. Don't see no difference.
And you did, and you left when you got arrested, you went and got your stuff after you got out of jail, but you never.
When I got out of jail, the day I got out of jail, all the police come with me over to the house to get my stuff. And I haven't seen her since.
So you had a police stand by to help you.
Yes.
And you went in and got your things
Yes.
and. Okay. And. Hadn't been any communication between you since then,
No,
except for seeing her today.
nothing.
Nothing further. John.
State,
No further questions, please. So, Mr. Chairman.
okay. Okay, Mr. Gidry, you may step down. Have a seat.
We read strong.
State, do you have any rebuttal witnesses?
None from the state.
State, you like to, have a closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor. State will waive this right to open reserve respective courts.
Okay. Mr. LeBlanc, you may proceed.
That was quick, Your Honor. When he said he went and got his belongings, a lot of times that doesn't seem to happen in these cases, but he went over there after he got out of jail, got his stuff and moved out. The man obviously didn't want to go to jail for something minor like this. Judge, I don't think there's enough evidence for an assault. If there is a small, then maybe a class C. I don't see any injury or pain or any bodily injury or laceration. I didn't see, and of course, you're the trier of fact, and the court can see it differently. Obviously, the state's going to say that there was an assault occurred. Just think that this courtroom, as well as all of our courtrooms, need to be utilized and full of, because we have enough to do. There's enough out there to have to be dealing with something that's minor. These parties are separated. They've both gone their own way. I don't know how you could get by him saying that. I don't think that's an admission. You know, he's saying that he knocked her glasses off, but is that an assault? Yes, you're the judge. You'd have to decide that. I don't think that's an assault, not the assaults that we see in here. Also.
Okay, Mr. Hubel.
So defense may characterize this assault as minor as long as they want to, but what controls this case is the elements. And the state has proven all those elements beyond a reasonable doubt with its witnesses and with the defensive witness. So taking into account the in Jefferson County, this is established by all the state's witnesses, as well as being corroborated by the defense's own witness, Alvin Guidry, as this is the case with the date November 9th, 2023 as well. Those are not an issue. Defense would make an issue of bodily injury by saying that it was minor in this case and that it was just some redness. But for the element of bodily injury, all that's required is pain. And it's Dean's testimony that whenever Alton became upset that there was a man in the house and that he viewed what she was wearing as promiscuous, which you can see in State's Exhibit 1, it is not. He struck her in the face, which is Miss Dean's testimony, and knocking her glasses from her face. And she testified that caused her pain. It caused a scratch and it caused redness. You can see that in State's Exhibits 1B and 1C. That you can see the redness and abrasion from Dean's eye. Those images were taken by Officer Garcia. He also recalls seeing those injuries. He testified to those injuries. And Deborah also on the stand identified and pointed to those injuries in State's Exhibits 1B and 1C. And furthermore, in regards to bodily injury, we not only have Alton's admission on the stand that he did push the glasses off of her face. We also have what's in State's Exhibit number 2, which with permission of the court, I would publish it this.
Okay.
You doing? What's your name? Y'all got into it? You ain't got no gun on you, huh? I mean, no, sir. Alright, you cool. Alright, so this was, you, according to you, it's just a verbal argument?
Oh,
Y'all both listening?
yes.
Okay.
So he admits on the stand that he pushed the glass over her face. He admits on State's Exhibit number 2 that it was not a strictly verbal argument. And he makes a shoving motion as well as pointing towards his temple where glasses usually sit, where the injury occurred in this case. Alton's been ID'd but on the stand by all the witnesses as the individual who committed this offense. And as it's Dean's testimony and Deborah's testimony, that he is Dean Guidry's husband, and they're in fact still married. So, and everyone agrees that the events alleged transpired, that Dean Guidry's glasses were pushed off her face. And it's Dean's testimony that she suffered pain when this occurred. And that this all this is the result of Alton's insecurity. He admits this on the stand that it was because there was a man in the home and he felt that she was dressed promiscuously. He was trying to control her, something that we often see in relationships that are dominated by family violence. But fortunately, in this case, Dean and this is corroborated by Alton's testimony, they haven't seen each other since this occurred. So Dean got out because she felt that she did not deserve be the victim of defendant's behavior, and like she was in this case. And while she may be out of the relationship at this point, that doesn't erase what happened on the morning of November 9th, 2023. This event caused her pain. It scared her grandson. It concerned her sister. And the defense, again, may view this as minor, but every citizen in Jefferson County deserves justice and deserves a day in court. Dean Guidry in this case deserves justice. The state has proved each and every one of its elements beyond a reasonable doubt through the testimony and exhibits admitted, and through the defendant's own statements, both out in and out of court. So Alton Guidry needs to be held accountable for his actions against Dean Guidry on the state.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you are. Okay, the court, applying the facts to the law will find that, Mr. Guidry is guilty of the offense of assault, bodily injury to a family member. Okay? So, at this time, before we do any, punishment evidence, state, is there, I'll give you and the defense an opportunity to talk to see if y'all would like to come to an agreement on punishment. If not, I will assess the punishment. Okay, so at this time we'll be in recess.
Thank you.
Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and cause number 23 CCCR 2522 case is filed with State of Texas versus Alton Thomas Guidry Jr. Let the record reflect that Mr. Guidry is present in court with his attorney Todd LeBlanc. State is present with Assistant Criminal District Attorneys, Attorney Andrew Hubel and Attorney Shane Hilton. State, are you ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready?
We're ready. Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hubel, you may proceed. You'd like to present any evidence on punishment or you just argue?
State would ask that all the evidence offered and admitted for the purposes of guilt and innocence also be admitted for the purpose of punishment.
Okay,
And maybe an argument, Your Honor.
yes,
So based on the evidence admitted at trial and the defendant's own statements, he admits the conduct in this case, but does not reckon with the weight of it or the fact that the testimony that he gave, as well as the testimony that Dean and Deborah gave, indicate that this relationship either was within or on its way towards the family violence cycle. We're to that end, I believe that in this case, the defendant should be required to take the Betters Intervention Prevention Program. State would be asking for 1 year probation, 180 days probation for 1 year, with a standard fine in community service, as well as the imposition of the requirement that he participates in the BED program.
okay, you said as, repeat the recommendation again.
180 days probation over 1 year with a standard fine in community service and the requirement that he takes the Betters Intervention Prevention Program.
Okay, plus 180 days, prorated 1 year, standard fine plus court costs. You just, not a community service. You want community service and Betters intervention?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else?
And that's all the states.
Okay, now, Mr. LeBlanc, defense record.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, if the punishment should fit the crime, then what we see, what damages were inflicted, does it warrant a year's probation? As court knows that it's not easy. Misdemeanor probation is easier than maybe felony probation. I don't know, but it's not an easy year for a 64-year-old man to have to go report and everything. And he's got a physical disability, I believe. I don't think community service he can do. I don't know if the court thinks that it should oversee a probationer for the year, then I guess that you would follow the state's recommendation. I do know that he spent 2 days in jail. He had to bond out. He paid $750 in bond to bond out. He's been here every time. I started in October 24, I believe is what it said, but I imagine he came before that. He would have to come before that before I was appointed. So he's paying a price. And he wanted to go to trial the other day, Monday, whether I was capable or not, because he wanted to get this behind him. And I understand that. He doesn't want to have to keep coming back here and dealing with this. He wants to get this behind him. I just don't see where him having to spend a whole another year dealing with this would be beneficial to him or society. I don't think this man's going to be back in this courtroom. I don't think you're going to have any issues with him. I think 2 days in jail is plenty ample time plenty of a ample punishment to deter him. I don't think he wants to go back to jail. I do not think he'll be back in this court again. Even if on a motion to revoke, even if you put him on probation. But that's just going to be a financial hardship on him, and he's in the golden years of his life. I'd like to let him have a chance to enjoy that, and she's going about her way. She can enjoy her time too. He's not getting back with her. That you won't be seeing him in here because of something with her, and I don't think you'll be seeing him in here for any other reason. So Judge, I would ask that you consider 2 days.
Even the mayor as well.
Yes,
Certainly through her own testimony, it would seem that Dean and Alton are not getting back together, but the imposition of the BIT program is to make sure that there are no further acts of family violence with future partners that he may have to protect the community. And in this case, the defense would argue that he's been dealing with this case for so long, he's been coming up here, like trial setting after setting. But it's apparent that, from his own testimony, that he does not feel like he did anything wrong in this case, that he is not, reckoned with what he did on this date, November 9th of 2023. So I think if the punishment should fit the crime, the defendant should recognize what he did was wrong. And this consequence, this year of probation, would go far in making that the case.
okay, now the court is going to take judicial notice of his file. Court is looking at the Jefferson County affidavit of indigence that's in the file. Let's see. Now, Mr. LeBlanc,
Yes, ma'am.
looking at the affidavit of indigence, is everything still true and correct, in this affidavit concerning Mr. Guidry's financial situation?
He tells me it was.
Okay, now, let's see. Now, I need to ask a question, and it may require the answer. The answer will actually entail probably non-public information. So, pursuant to Article 1.24 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, all trials and proceedings shall be public. However, pursuant to the case of Lilly versus State 365 Southwest 3rd 321, the right to a public trial is not absolute and might be outweighed by other competing interests, such as the interest in security, to prevent the disclosure of non-public information, to ensure that the defendant get a fair trial. And Mr. LeBlanc, I'm going to, probably ask you some questions. Your responses is probably gonna entail some non-public information. Are you requesting at this time that this portion of the hearing be closed to the public to prevent the disclosure of non-public information?
If that's necessary, yes, Judge Raymond.
Okay, so, the court finds that the party seeking the closure has advanced an overriding interest that is likely to be prejudicial to his client. And this request is no broader than necessary to protect his client's interests. The court has considered other reasonable alternatives, and the court finds that the closure at this time is warranted. And so at this time, this portion of the hearing will be closed to the general public. Okay, the court is going to, it says punishment at 90 days jail probated for 1 year. Um, fine of $200. What's the court cost? Oh, okay. And I'm gonna say attorney's fees in this case. Well, I'm looking at his deal. The court, first of all, the court is gonna find that he's indigent pursuant to the affidavit that the court has on file. And the court costs in this case is gonna, not the court costs, but the attorney's fees in this case will be waived, which means he will not have to pay it. We're gonna waive the attorney's fees, which means Mr. Guidry will not be required to pay it. And that's gonna be pursuant to Article 26.05 G-11 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. The court is also going to waive the reimbursement fee of $15 pursuant to Article 102.018 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. The What's the court cost? What?
Have to put it all the information.
Okay. The fine in this case will be $200, but you're gonna get 2 days credit. You have 2 days credit toward that. So the 2 days that you served in jail has already paid off the fine. Okay. So that leaves, now there's the defendant would have to pay $100 to the a family violence center in Jefferson County. The probation fee in this case will be reduced to the statutory minimum from $60 a month to $25 a month. You will be required to pay your analysis fee of $180. As soon as I get the court calls, I'll be able to tell you what your monthly fees will be. No, the community services is being waived at this time based on his physical minimum. Well, yes, he will have to attend the BIP class. Take BIP.
$277.
277. That's the court cost?
Yes,
Okay.
277.
Okay. It's a room. That's Okay. So your total monthly fees, let me do this here. I'll just repeat. You'll be sentenced to 90 days in Jefferson County Jail, be probated for a period of 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $200. You'll be given 2 days credit toward that, so you get $100 per day credit. So that's already taken care of. You'll be required to pay a court cost of $277. You'll be required to pay $100 to a family violence center in Jefferson County. You'll be required to pay a probation fee, in this case, of $25 a month because the court have found that you are indigent and it's been reduced to the statutory minimum of $25 a month. You'll be required to pay a urinalysis fee of $15 a month. The reimbursement fee of $15 will be waived pursuant to Article 102.018 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month, is $78 a month. Okay? Will you be able to pay the $78 each month? 78.
Yes.
Okay. You will be required to attend and complete the Batters Intervention Program. You will also be required to you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Now, y'all have to fill out the certification form, trial court certification. Okay, and this is the ruling of the court. State, do you have anything else?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have anything else?
I don't, but
Okay. Oh, let me do this here. And the other one is a no contact. No contact with the victim in this case, Ms. Dean Gidry. Hmm? DEAN is her name. Okay, this is the ruling of the court. Court will be in recess. Looking at the facts of the case, even if you hit somebody in the face with eyeglasses on, that glasses could cut, okay? Or the glasses can cause injury to the person, okay? So, the court had to look at the facts of the case. And when the court applied the facts to the law, that's why the court ruled in the way in which it ruled, okay? Okay. Run that by your attorney first because you have a right against self-incrimination. Um, yeah, I need to go. I need to get that to you. Hey, Miss Mosby, could you hand this document to Mr. Gidry? I need to go over this document with you, Mr. Gidry. The document that I just handed to you is titled Model Written Ammunition on Ineligibility to Possess a Firearm Ammunition. And so it reads, in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you or warns you of the following. Number one, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm ammunition. Beginning now, if you possess a firearm ammunition, could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013, a firearm means any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have, you know what, I might have to get Brett Ada to come back in. So we'll have this on the record just in case. Hold on a minute, I'm gonna go back over this. The court is back in session in cause number 23CCC Aura 2522. Case is style of the state of Texas versus Alton Thomas Guidry Jr. We have Mr. Alton Thomas Guidry, and I'm getting ready to read to Mr. Guidry the model written ammunition on ineligibility to possess a firearm ammunition. And it states, in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code Section 176.1, the court hereby admonish you of the following. Number one, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013, A, firearms mean any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device related convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. For your reference, you may wish to consult the statutes listed below, which may or may not apply to your circumstances. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 27.14E1, plea of guilty or nolo contendere in a misdemeanor case. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse and neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective force. And Mr. Guidry, the model written ammunition that was handed to you by the bailiff is for your records. Okay? You can have a seat. She's still working on the judgment. And once you finish working on the judgment, you'll follow the directions of the bailiff. Once you finish following the directions of the bailiff, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day. Just have a seat.
This,
Yes.
this, back to this saying I can't have no, wow.
Firearm or ammunition. That's ammunition.
I gotta put that, but the way your world is, people shoot people.
Okay. Okay. All right, just have a seat.
Yeah.
Okay, this will conclude the calling of the court's trial docket, announcement docket, and the motion revocable revocation docket, as well as the bond forfeiture docket in County Court at Law number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, on today's date of June 11th, 2025.